I'm going to be using this Minwax wood finish semi-transparent, and I had it tinted the golden oak. I don't know what color these are. There's in different rooms, depending on whether the sun shines on it or not. Depends on the color. So golden oak used to be popular, could be Jacobine, who knows. I tried to match it up and they're all different, but I put some on and you see the color. I don't know, I might do 2 coats. I think it's looking good. We still got to put our finish on, so see the difference here. And so this is going good. I'm putting it on with a brush. It says leave it on for 2 minutes and wipe it off with a rag. There's after it's all coated. I'm liking. It's pretty. So I'm going to let this dry. It takes about an hour, it says. At least an hour. And then I'm going to consider whether I want to use polyurethane or if I want to use a... well, let me show you the product. Here's the products. This is our premium water-based wood finish. I bought polyacrylic, crystal clear, and I don't see it. I believe it's satin, right? Clear satin. I don't want the gloss. I got butcher block conditioner, and then I had cutting board oil. And the problem with using these 2 products, you got to keep applying. And so I'm going to consider this. It's not, not a huge deal a couple times a year to slap some oil on it, but I'm going to check to see if the polyacrylic will hold up to, putting dishes, things like that on there. Now I want to move on to countertop. We've got this one stained. I gave it a light sanding, and it's ready for the top coat. I'm not sure yet what I want to use, whether it's polyurethane, a tung oil, butcher wax, I don't know. So the next counter is this one. So I want to measure only to this edge of the cabinet. I don't want it overhanging. If it does, maybe just a whisker. That'll give us some slide-in room for the stove. But when it joins together, we can either use like a mending plate, blocks of wood, something. We could probably put 2 blocks of wood and then leave a little gap between it, like a 1/4 inch. When we set that in, we could put, our, how do I say that? Like clamps or screws to pull the 2 together. I just want it tight. We could use just simple glue. We can use a type of Craig jig. I got a couple kinds. We could use dowels. So I haven't figured that out what I want to use yet. I went ahead and started cutting a couple boards. I've got one sanded that'll fit there. And prior to doing that, I come over here and I figured out this one. What I want to do up here, there's extra space. I didn't want the cabinets to go all the way out there, so buy another 12-inch or whatever and put it there. I did not want to close this area in. I like that I could see in there. It's a mess, but I could see into the living room, move this table out of the way. You can see the fireplace from the kitchen. I like that. We turn farther, we can see all the way down. But I could make use of the countertop. So what I thought is I'll come out and I'll angle back with a countertop. And because the countertops hook in with these clips in the corner, up, that can be unhooked, changed if I ever change the doorway, whatever. Also, when you stop your backsplash, where do you stop, right? Stop at a straight line. But if I extend the countertop, I could run the backsplash all the way across if I choose. And that little extra space, that 12 inches is, enough room to put something. You're thinking space. So I got to figure out the dowels on that. This one I went ahead and cut that angle. I like that. So I cut that. That one's a simple 24. And this one over here is a 48 together. And we got another doorway. Now, to do the other cabinets, apparently they cut this trim. And that's going to be a shame at the top. But the work we've done with the windows in the past and so on, I kept any of the moldings. I think I still have a vertical, a horizontal, so they'd be a full 2.5 inches wide. So instead of stopping the countertop short here and then having your backsplash end here, whatever, might look funny. I don't know. I might as well come out a full inch overhang, come on a short angle, and come in where the trim would go, and then the backsplash could end at the trim, and that might look good. So I'm going to do that. Same thing. This gets hooked underneath, so ever want to change it, cut it square, we can. So I lay them out on the floor because it's easier, and they weigh a lot. They're like 86 pounds for an 8-footer, so they're pretty heavy to throw it up on plastic sawhorses in the kitchen, cut it, and then want to have one drop. So I put blocks of wood to support it. I put my mark. I use a simple circular saw. I use a sander orbital at the end. Clean up the top, clean up the edge, the ends. They look pretty good. Okay, I got a 24-inch cut for there. I got my 49, and I decided to go on an angle this way again and pick up a little more space, and I could probably run the backsplash right to the new molding. I got to put the new molding on. Leftover piece I had, and then that'll be backsplash. And so I guess what I'm going to do is go ahead and stain in either poly or butcher block material. I don't like this. I mean, I do like this light color. It just doesn't match anything. Right, Tiger? He's checking out the birdies. When I just fed him, and the kitties sit here and look out the window at him. And over here, I've got this one stained. And then I got this one cut. And the surface is almost flush right now without doing anything. So we'll decide whether we're going to use some type of Craig jig, come up from the bottom, suck it together, dowels. I've got all this stuff. Construction adhesive or glue. Over here by the stove, I turned the stove legs all the way down because I was concerned if I did a 3/4 inch floor that the stove would end up being higher than the countertop. We'd slide like this. This side I didn't raise this cabinet up yet, but I don't want to slide a pan and bang into the glass by accident and crack the top on it. Glass is usually pretty rugged on the surface, but on the edge is where they crack. And this side, I ran a diagonal to use up this space. I got very little bit of countertop pieces. One for the sink cut out, a little sliver for this one, and I've got about an 18 left on this side. So that's pretty good. This wall here has a pocket door. It slides in here. There's a little bow in this wall right here. And so what I did on the other walls is I just scribed so I could slide this back. I'm not going to do this yet because this cabinet's not in place and the stove isn't the right height. Nothing's set yet, and I don't want to, get carried away and get it fitting right now, and then I move it up an inch or two and it makes a difference. Not two, but move it up 3/4 of an inch, move it over a little bit, something. And so when I adjust these legs up, I want to keep it, really close, but I want the glass flush with the sides. And then I want to have room enough to pull the stove in and out. I don't want a big gap where, debris can fall down in there. But if they are flush, pretty flush like this, I probably could get one of those divider tracks here so that the, crumbs don't fall down in there or whatever. And check it out though. This is looking pretty good. See the stain color. I don't know if it's quite dark enough. It will darken when I put my finish on. Probably a satin. And it'll, give it a decent shine. So I'm pretty happy with this. Looking pretty good. This kitchen's larger than it was before. But see it coming together. Our soffit, that'll be coming here in a couple days. We got to get started on that, get that rest of the electric done. And I get a lot of debris, tools, material, stuff out of here and start cleaning this up pretty decent. I removed them all and put my stain on. There's the next one, and there. So give it about an hour. Should be set up. And then I'll probably do a real light real light sanding, probably hand sanding, and then tack cloth, and then we could do our finish when we're ready. Then we'll go on to this attachment, figure out how I want to do it. There's our finish. There's our angle out. I'm going to stay away from the door trim a little. This cabinet needs to be raised, remember. And then the stove's got to come up level. We're going to wait till we do the floor. And then these two have to be tightened together. This is our flooring that we're going to be using. So our color is going to be pretty close, I think. Remember, this is not got a finish on it yet, just a stain. And then there's a little one. And then here's this one. And then again, it's a little less of an angle going this direction, but that'll pick up a little more counter space, you know, there's 6 inches or so. It all counts. So I'm excited about that. This one I can go ahead and fasten down. This cabinet here, it's got to be raised up with that 3/4 yet of the flooring. This one can be finished, fastening down. That one hooked together. That one can be fastened down and raised up. I scribed the back so it does fit really good against the wall. And it's looking good. Okay, I decided instead of the clear polyacrylic, I'm going to use the indoor-outdoor Hellman Spar Urethane. Exceptional protection from sunlight, rain, and moisture, and temperature changes. So I think this is a better choice for the countertop. The oil, the main concern with the oil isn't me being lazy, not going every 6 months and recoating it, as much as I believe you can still stain with a cup of coffee or water stain through the oil, and the poly won't allow that. So I'm going to put about 2 or 3, probably 3 coats of this. This is a clear satin, and I started on this little countertop. You see the little tiny bubbles. I'm using a brush, putting it on thin. In some spots, I don't know if you can see in the light, it's edges, it dries pretty fast. So right there, you can see one dry pretty fast. And I'm just going to finish this up using a brush. I'm using a 2.5 sash brush so I can go up to the corners, because that countertop over there is still attached. These 3, I got them back off. It's easier to do them out here. I'm going to do a steel wool between it. I might use sandpaper. I'll probably try steel wool first. You want to knock the little air bubbles off the top after it's dry. Then I got a tack cloth there. I'm going to go over it, make sure there's no steel filings left over. I want to do the edges and across the front here. Underneath I could care less, but if water ran off the front edge, I want it to be able to be cleaned and not leave a stain. So I'm going to finish these up and see what it looks like. There she looks on one coat. Check it out. Okay, everything's got one coat on it. Looking good. So let's take a break. I think it's going to take 2 to 4 hours to dry. We're going to do a sanding. I probably will use, I don't know, 220 or higher, because these are pretty smooth. Just a sandpaper, light, and then a tack cloth, and then we'll do 2 or 3 coats. Looking good though. Okay, everything's got one coat on it. Looking good. So let's take a break. I think it's going to take 2 to 4 hours to dry. We're going to do a sanding. I probably will use, I don't know, 220 or higher, because these are pretty smooth. Just a sandpaper, light, and then a tack cloth, and then we'll do 2 or 3 coats. Looking good though. All right, our countertops are dry. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. Yeah, 5 of them. And what I'm going to do is give it a light sanding. They're pretty smooth, but give it a light sanding and then a tack cloth, and we'll go ahead and with a second coat. All right, I gave it a sanding with the grain. So you can see all the dust on there. With 320 is what I had. Did all these. See the dust on there. And then these 2 here, I used my tack cloth I got the dust off. Pretty nice already. See that? So I'm going to finish tack cloth in it, get all the dust off. You can really see it this way. Get all the dust off, and we'll get another coat on. There's our final coat. What do you think of that? Here's our hardwood flooring sample. You can kind of see the grain in that. See that? We're similar, and this is lights and darks. It varies, just like the flooring does. And I think it should look pretty good. What do y'all think? It's drying. I got an exhaust fan on here. Let a little fresh air in and exhaust this out. So the next step we got, going to be working on the soffits. We're going to let this dry overnight, and we're going to start on the soffits, and then we're going to build that little wall up there to put the TV on. We're going to get that off the wall over there, get it over here, and then I think that's a big project in itself. So stay tuned to the channel and check that out. And we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.